Sir, Jayavarma sir, can we start now?
I think we can start. No, we have
Okay.
25 participants. So
Okay. 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 Good afternoon, all of you. A warm welcome to our 13th session of the webinar by Department of Chemistry. Today we have a different subject, that is for the okay, I'm sorry. Today we have a very different topic. So that is about the incubation of innovative ideas by Ms. Preeti M. You know that she is the CEO of Technology Business Incubator NIT Calicut. It's a very prestigious wing of NIT Calicut, and you know that she is actually working for 15 years in that technology business incubator, and I think they can start around 79 startup programs, and also many people has been employed due to this technology business incubator programs. So I welcome Dr. Professor Jayavarma, Department of Physics, to introduce Ms. Preeti M. Please, sir.
thank you, Sujit. And I think it is a very relevant topic that chemistry has introduced for many students. So it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Preeti. She is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the Technology Business Incubator of NIT Calicut. And she is in the entrepreneurship development field for past 20 years. And she has guided many startup companies in NIT Calicut. She started her career with the Entrepreneurship Development Center of REC Calicut. That is before it became NIT in 2001. And she was part of the team, prepared and presented the proposals for setting up the TBI in NIT Calicut in 2003. And later on, we all know that TBI has been, we got a technology business incubator with funding from ministry. Then she has undergone so many trainings in technology transfer from Texas University, training in technology transfer from Praxis Unico, and entrepreneurship educator development course at Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, training in entrepreneurship development at Entrepreneurship Development Institute, Ahmedabad, and induction program in management at Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. And she is a certified trainer of InfoDev in business incubation, and that's an organization of World Bank organization. Okay, it's part of World Bank organization. So she served as manager of TBI for 15 years before assuming the current role of CEO. And the TBI, NIT TBI has extended incubation facility to 79 companies so far. The support team extended to units in different sectors like software, IT, electronics, IoT, rubber technology, many fields, science, technology. So TBI is actually catering to pretty much every need of the community in NIT Calicut and outside also. So TBI has generated the opportunities for around 1,000 people in terms of employment. So with this introduction, I invite Preeti to deliver her lecture on incubation and generate some interest in our students to to come up with the innovative ideas and then having their ideas, the innovative ideas to product and the prototype through incubation at TBI. PD, over to you.
Thank you very much, Parma sir, for that very detailed introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. And thank you, Sujit sir, for giving me this opportunity to introduce the concept of incubation and innovation promotion to the students of chemistry department. Of course, it is a great chance because we don't know where the real innovator lies. So without much of introduction part, I think I will just go to my slides. Shall I present the screen?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. This is okay with it, right? Your the screen is visible, right?
It is visible. I think you can expand.
Okay, good. Right. So, yeah, I'm just taking this 1 hour plus to introduce you to the startup ecosystem, and just to tell you a little bit about the entrepreneurship ecosystem which is prevailing around us. And just to tell some of the characteristics of startup, and maybe just a little bit about the how you need to take a startup forward, and what are the supporting factors that you have around you for taking your startup idea forward. Okay, so I think maybe this the generally in general we have to just giving you a little bit around the what is a startup and what is the need for incubation, and how do you find where you can find yourself with respect to your startup or with respect to your idea and all, and about the systems that we have for the innovation promotion, and then incubation of just coming to the incubation side, what you require in the incubation side and all, and specifically a little bit too much, I mean, little explanation about what is happening in the TBI at NIT and what are the opportunities for you. Okay, with some examples. So coming to the startup and why you really require about the support of incubation and other innovation promotion, the support of the ecosystem that you need is well explained with this figure. If you can see, like you have with an idea, when definitely any business idea starts with a problem that you are identifying around you. Okay, a need that is or rather a requirement of the society around you is the idea of a startup coming from. Okay, so because definitely it is like you cannot have a business, a profitable business, just because you have the knowledge or you have a product idea. Okay, but because the business we are doing is for making profit, for making money, so your product has to sell, your product or service, whatever. Okay, it has to sell. So for selling that product or selling that service, you require the need from the society, or you require the need around you. Okay, so with the idea we have this, this figure is more or less in terms of the money that is generated, or the requirement of capitals, or requirement of funds for the startup. Okay, so in the first phase, or requirement of support generally for the startup. Okay, so in the first phase, basically when you start with the idea, when you have the idea, to develop that idea into the next level, that is into proof of concept. You know what is a proof of concept, right? Because the idea just turned into a meaningful, or rather you are actually proving your concept or proving your product that it is correct. Okay, so this is like, you probably you have, this is probably a lab version. like you have a concept, or you have a concept of a product which is in your mind as part of your research, or as as part of your studies that you had, or even accidentally something came to your mind which you really want to take it into a product. Okay, but you have to try it out. Okay, you have to try it out at the lab level first of all. So you are actually trying to make it into, give it some shape to your idea, and you made it into a proof of concept. Then again, you're taking it from there to the next level, that is to make it into a prototype. When once you make it the prototype, then actually you have to make it a product to give to somebody, the intended customer to use it, and then just to get their opinion back whether your real product is really working well or not. Okay, that is, we call it the minimum viable product. And with this minimum viable product, you can just do a test marketing, like you can give it to the user that you have in mind, okay, the customer that you have in mind, and then just take it back, and then if required, probably at the customer stage, because we normally ask the people who innovator comes to us for the discussion about the incubation. What we normally do is we ask them to develop their idea into a proof of concept, then into a prototype, and then into the test marketing, or rather minimum viable product, which could be taken into the market. Okay, so why we want to take it into the market with a minimum viable product is, a minimum viable product is something which for which you have not given the complete shape of the product, or it is not a very completely finished one. Maybe you may not have many features in it, or probably you can add more features when you get the customer feedback. So it is basically for the customer feedback. So for all these things, you require money, you require support, you require technical support, you require mentoring, you will have so many doubts regarding the technology, so many doubts regarding how to take it into market, how to understand the market, and all these kind of things. So there actually we require a lot of inputs in the form of funds, in the form of consulting, in the form of so many things. Okay, so and even you might require when for the chemistry people, when you are thinking about some kind of a chemical for some use, maybe it is for food or something, some enzyme or whatever. Okay, so what happens is you need to formulate it, you need to probably try it out, and you need to take it into, or maybe some quality testing, safety testing, and everything you require. Okay, so all these things getting done and then coming back, then again you have to give it to the actual customer, or you have to actually give it use it, and then see if there is some problem with it. Okay, whether it is actually as per the taste what the customer requires, or rather whether it could be made comparatively, as with the same comparable price as what is there in the market. So all these things are to be found out. Okay, so this is the for even for that also you require the lab facilities, because a person, when you are thinking from the perspective of an institute where you have everything in the lab, it may be rather easy for you to make any compound, or make something in the lab and then take it out. But think from the perspective of an outsider, okay, somebody outside in IT. So somebody who's just, maybe when you graduate from here, and then after that you just come across some idea, and then you want to make it into a product, and then go back or go to the market. Okay, so then what happens is you don't have the ecosystem, or rather the technical ecosystem, what the institute is offering you for your support. Okay, so there are many people who are outside this institute system. Okay, or who are not having any access to this kind of a technological system. So there, the technology system is required for those entrepreneurs to make their product. So all these kind of things are required in the very early stage. So actually, what happens is, so in this early stage, you require a lot of money to make use of all these systems, and to bring in a lot of resources and all those things. So naturally, the curve for revenue will be slightly in a dip. Okay, because you are actually putting the money into the business, not getting anything out from that. Okay, so then actually, when after your pilot testing, then you have to make the modifications for your product, and then actually going into the market and slightly start getting revenues. Okay, actually then in that phase only, you are getting to, your people are getting to know about you, your market is getting to know about you, and the funders or investors are getting to know about you. Okay, then only, because anybody to invest in a business, you require to prove your credibility. Okay, so until then, there are many other systems which will blindly, or rather not blindly exactly, because we all have the system of giving seed fund. Seed fund is something, a half blindly kind of thing being given to an innovator for the support in the very early stage. So what happens is there, uh, people like us, the incubators, or rather any of some of the agencies which gives the seed fund to the innovators, what happens is we listen to your technology, listen to your product, listen to what market research that you have done. Okay, then when we get a feel that okay, this has got some stuff in it, and probably we can support them for just give a try for making a business. So what happens is there we give the seed fund, and then using the seed fund, probably you can get all these resources which I was talking about earlier. Okay, so the seed fund is something which you can get in the very early stage, with which probably you will be able to take forward the activities. Okay, so in this, when you probably at some point of time, probably the customer validation point, that is when I told you about the MVP, you actually take the MVP into the actual market to see how the customer is behaving with that, or rather how customer is responding to that. Okay, so at that point, probably if you are feeling that you will not be able to sell it could be due to many reasons. One could be that your product is not actually serving the purpose which you wanted to. Okay, or rather, probably it is not. Probably the customer did not like some of the features of it, some of the the probably some of the technology, or it is slightly too complicated to deal with, or maybe many cases are there. Okay, or you are giving it at a higher price, or for so many reasons, probably you may not be able to get a proper response, or the desired response from the market. So in such a case, probably you might probably close the business and go for something else. So that we can call as a premature failure. Okay, so that it is either way, like you may not have invested too much into it, then at the very early stage itself you realize that your business idea is not workable, and then you go back. Okay, that is there. Or probably you invested a lot and then failing is a dangerous thing. Okay, so this dip or this problem, that is you are investing too much in terms of money, in terms of your time, in terms of so many other things. Okay, so many other resources that you're investing a lot in that, and then failing is actually more giving you more damage. Okay, so to avoid all this damages, why we have this incubation system, where you can actually, without really investing into this, you can get all these resources. Okay, so somebody else might give you some money, like you can just try it out with that, and then if you will be able to, this could be a really cheap money, because in the sense you don't have to really give a lot of interest for it, very minimal interest, and very even if you are not able to pay it back to a portion of it or something like that, it would be okay, because government also knows that 100% all the entrepreneurs will not succeed. Okay, so again, from here, from the dip, if you can get a good customer validation and good customer support and good feedback, then actually you're going to a growth path, and then slowly into the expansion stage, wherein by then many of the investors must have taken an interest in your product and taken interest in your company, and then you can really take it forward into the next level, taking more and more investment. So we are now talking about this dip level. In the initial level, the dip phase, wherein you require a lot of factors which will help your business and help the ideation and taking it forward to, or rather giving the shape for your business. Okay, so actually we're just talking about a little bit in detail about the different actors in this innovation ecosystem, wherein all these actors individually are supporting your business development. First and foremost is the government, which is actually laying the proper ecosystem for the innovation nowadays, especially both the state government and the central government in our country, with the regulations, tax like incentives, legal frameworks, and all. And we have Kerala is one of the first states not actually the first state in India to introduce the student entrepreneurship through the education system. In fact, there was a system maybe around 6-7 years back. I'm not very sure if you're familiar with it. We have the system of the student entrepreneurship policy, where we were able to, at that time, we were able to get at around 4% of grace marks if you have been working with some idea. Okay. And now, of course, as per KTU, it is Kerala Technical University, it is a part of the curriculum. But now we, in NIT also, we are also in, in the path of towards attaining that kind of integration into our curriculum. Okay. So government is actually promoting all these things. In fact, government is advising the universities or the educational boards to accept, or rather to adopt this entrepreneurial activities also into the curriculum and as a part of the education system. And not only that, in fact, we had a lot of schemes which the government has brought in terms of the tax incentives, like we had as per the Startup India policy, we had a 7-year tax incentive for the income tax incentive for the startup. And there are a lot many, again, the K-Swift and of Kerala government and the single window clearance for the licenses and all are regulations and, the legal relaxation of the legal frameworks and all, which is brought in for the promotion of the startup and innovation ecosystem. Actually, how effectively these regulations are working is a different question. It depends on the people who are actually implementing it. Okay, so the government system, legal frameworks, and tax incentives and all are one major factor for the promotion of the innovation ecosystem. And then definitely we have the demand, which is the big companies and the general economic boost and the support for the small and medium enterprises and all, which is given. We have a certain percentage of all our government procurements which could be taken from the MSME sector, because almost all the startups are actually in the SME sector, wherein you have based on your criteria of income and the number of years and all, you fall under this SME startup sector. Okay, so it is actually giving a boost to the buying system and opening up the economy in a way which is more supportive for the startups. Okay, and the invention is another factor, because for technological startups to start and to prosper, the new inventions and new technologies is a major factor. Okay, so where are we having these new technologies, new inventions? Definitely in universities and institutions. Okay, so these institutions and universities, because always we used to complain that there exists a gap between the university and the academia and the industry. Okay, so that is one thing, because understanding the industry requirements, or in vice versa, like just understanding what is happening in the universities and having the collaboration between the university and the industry also is a major factor. So there are actually many industry sectors which is actually coming to the industry. I mean, sorry, the universities, and taking up the student entrepreneurship or student innovation, and even the research outputs produced by the universities and all are happening. We have maybe from your being the chemistry people, you must have heard of the National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. There we have a very good incubation center called Venture Center, through which actually the technologies developed, the chemical technologies developed by the NCL is licensed out. Okay, one vehicle for licensing out the technologies from NCL is this Venture Center, and they have their own system of the technology transfer. We call it the technology transfer. That is, it could be through many ways. It could be through licensing out the technology for so many years for one particular company, or it need not be an exclusive license. Exclusive license means you're giving the license to produce that technology or produce the product through using the technology only to one company. It could be multiple licenses, that is one region to somebody, another region to somebody, or it could be without any criteria, you're just giving the license to anybody. Okay, so actually this licensing out is what actually the institute get is the money. It could be in different ways, like it could be just a one lump sum payment. You're giving one technology and getting, you are pricing giving us particular pricing for the technology. Say, if you are getting 25 lakhs, you can give the technology, or if you can give 10 lakhs, depending on the how good the technology is, or how much need the technology is having. Okay, so you're putting up a particular price, or then again another way is you are giving the technology, the company is using the technology and making the products, and then you can claim a particular percentage of the profit that the company makes out of it. Or it could be like one product, for every single product that the company is selling, you can claim a certain percentage of the price. Okay, so it could be like anything, or not a certain percentage or whatever. Okay, a certain amount for one single product being sold. So the licensing out could be in many different ways. Okay, mostly all these things would be patented technologies. Okay? So the universities and institutions, it is actually a source of technology. Some of the technologies could be given in the open source, or it could be some other could be like the licensing out of the technology. So ultimately what I meant to say is the inventions, what is happening in the universities and institutions, got open to the general industry, and the industry have started making use of these innovations and the inventions or research outputs extensively in India nowadays. Okay. So, and there are many incubation centers which are acting as a technology transfer offices in India, like one I already told about the NCL, then we have IIT Delhi, then we have IIT Madras. So there are so many, of course, IIT Bombay, there are so many, especially the IITs and CSIR labs, which have formed the incubation centers, are mostly acting as technology transfer centers also. Then major thing is money. You require fund for making a business or developing a business at all the phases. Okay, from the starting to the maturity growth phase, you need to invest money in the business. So funding, wherever you can get fund from, we normally start with the 3 F's, the friends, family, and some fools who are ready to invest in your money. That kind of a bootstrapping we call. We try to get our own money from our very nearby places, very nearby people. Okay, so that is the initial fund raising. Okay, then I told you about the seed funds. Okay, mostly the government agencies are working in the seed fund scenario. Okay, so seed fund is something mostly happens in the debt form. That is, you give the money, lending out the money, then taking it back with a small interest. Small or big, the person or the seed funding agency can decide. Normally, when it is government side, definitely the interest rate is very small, maybe ranging from 3 to 4% to around 6 to 7%, and it is more or less normally given as debt funding, that is giving and taking it back based on interest during a particular period. And otherwise, it could be the equity funding, wherein you can put the money and you take the ownership, a part of the ownership of the business instead of the money that you have put in. So the percentage ranges, according to the amount of money that you are putting in lieu of the share. Okay. So normally the seed funding agencies normally take something less than 10%. Okay. And especially when it is a government agency, definitely it is less than 10%, and more or less, they don't involve too much because when you are the owner of a company, definitely he also has, or the seed funding agency also has a say in the company. That is, normally the owners take the decisions together, right? Anything regarding the business. Okay. So normally the seed funding agencies, especially when it is a government agencies, don't go into these kind of complications, only take equity and just oversee the activities of the business. That's all. Okay. Then we have, the mix of all these things, and funding is this. I was talking about the very initial stage funding till now, and you have the next level of funding, the angel funding, wherein you have a lot of angel investors. Normally angel funding and the next level of venture capital funding also happens as only equity funding, not as debt funding. Debt funding, you have again term loans and other things, which is normally offered by the conventional financial institutions like banks. Okay, and the angel investment, venture capital investment, and all is basically done on the based on the business model. Normally, the angel investors will invest only in businesses which has started making some kind of a revenue. Okay, at least the early traction will have to be there in place when you before you go to the angel investor. When venture capital is happening after that, the angel investor will be investing of the order of say around from 25 lakhs to around maybe something less than 1 crore, say 75 lakhs or something like that. And venture capital could normally start from the 1 crore, more than 1 crore level of range. Okay. So this kind of a funding, we have not heard about this venture capital angel funding and all maybe around 20 years back when we just started with this incubation activities. It was very less, Kerala, nobody had heard of, or we never had, even in Kerala, we to start with the venture capital funding and all. Kerala government at that time, maybe when we started with the incubation center, maybe somewhere in 2005, 6 and all, we had a Kerala Venture Capital Fund, KVCF actually, which is nowhere now. No, it is not there now because already the other venture capital and angel investors have, have almost have a good spread in Kerala, and we have many investors. It could be even a high net worth individual also, a person who has made a lot of money and would like to help out some businesses, of course, to make money on me. Okay, because the angel investor and venture capitalists, what they generally look for is doubling their money or making it 3 times or 4 times. Okay, so because what they do is normally put the money into a growing business. When the business grows, take back their money by selling their share to somebody else. Okay, so this is what we call as the equity financing. So all these kind of fundings and all these kind of options, different options have already become very familiar to the innovators right now. Then when we call about the infrastructure. Now, when you start a business, you need to have some kind of an infrastructure, an office space to work from, and maybe if you're into this kind of chemistry, physics, and all those kind of things, you require the lab space. You require a lot of equipments, whether it is on the engineering side also, you might require a lot of equipments, unless it is a software side where you require mostly only some servers and some computers and all. So this infrastructure also is an important thing, when you start with, especially when you're the student, when you're at a student level now, you don't have much of money, you don't have much of earnings by which you will be able to invest again in the business and all. Okay, so what happens is when normally again the thing is when you are dealing with a new idea or kind of risky idea, it is always better that you don't invest much in the infrastructure because you don't know whether it will go waste or not. Okay, you're again keeping your fingers crossed when you're starting the business with a new technology. Okay, whether you don't really know whether it is going to be a successful thing in the market or not. So what happens is to minimize the infrastructure investment in the infrastructure. So what happens is, if you're able to get an office with a minimal rental payment, okay, where there actually what you have is you have just a little bit of running or recurring expenditure, okay, and otherwise you don't have to really buy the plot, buy the building or anything like that. So just like if you have a ready infrastructure, and also when you have a ready infrastructure where you can just go plug and play kind of environment, you don't have to spend your time also into making such a infrastructure ready for working. Okay, so this infrastructure, if you are able to get very easily on a very affordable cost, that also is a boosting. So now again, the incubation centers and co-working centers, whether it is in the government sector, whether it is in the public sector or wherever, okay, is providing you this kind of an infrastructure. So you have to choose this infrastructure based on your requirement. Okay, I said there are lot many incubation centers in India. I was just referring to the Startup India website. There are around 700 plus incubation centers registered in the Startup India website as of today. Okay, so you can choose an incubation center of your region, of your requirement. Like, there will be many out now. If any outsider also, if they come to an IT incubation center, if they require some equipment related to the electronics or mechanical engineering, we will be able to direct them to the concerned departments and request the department to share some time with our equipment for this innovator also. Okay, so when you do, when you know, there are so many startup centers, startup co-working centers as well. So many of them will not be having this kind of a technical infrastructure. Some of them must have made their own lab space. Okay, so well and good in that case. So when you are selecting a place where you really where you have to go incubate your idea and then work from there, you have to see that your requirements will be met from there. Okay, and then that is the infrastructure requirement. Okay, and then again we have in the institutions, when you have, again you have a good labor pool. Okay, like in the case, like, you know, you have both the cases, like on both the sides, like you have experts and you have people to work on. Okay, experts, like, you know, our teachers or our technical staff or whatever, or even our research scholars and all, who have a little more knowledge on these aspects, who will be able to help you technically to clear your doubts and all. And on the other side, maybe there are many students whom you can take as interns, okay, on a lower cost than the normal if you employ somebody. So this kind of a labor pool also is available with you for consulting as well as for helping you to work with. Okay. Then the culture of another major factor of this innovation ecosystem is the cultural change that has happened. Now, maybe 10 years back, probably Dr. Sujit will agree with me, when you had started your MSc chemistry, maybe maybe 8 or 10 years back, you would have never thought about this kind of a talk at all. Okay, so this is a cultural change that has happened. Okay, now we have a lot of people talking about the innovation. Now you yourself come across at least in one page of your normal newspaper. Every day you have some news or other about the business, about the startups. Nowadays, mostly at least one or two startup news will be there in the newspaper every day. Even in Malayalam newspaper, you can see. Okay, so this is a cultural change. Now, when we started with this incubation center in 2004, we had a difficult time to understand what exactly this incubation center is. You know what is an incubation, right? So incubation in the normal terms is basically hatching the chicken, and or in the medical terms is like, you know, giving the enough support to the premature babies, okay, like, you know, to make them adaptable to the normal situations. Okay, so actually we are also making the, in literal terms, actually the incubation for the business also is the same thing. Okay? We're trying to make, you know, the business adaptable to the normal conditions or normal competitions in the market, or we're making the business go to the market ready level. Okay, so this kind of a culture change. That time we had a hard time to make people understand what exactly the sense of incubation is. And now we don't have any problem at all. Anybody will understand what is a startup and what is an incubation center. Okay. So this kind of a cultural change is, of course, we had in Kerala, we had the startup village earlier and the startup policy of the government, and in Kerala, actually, we started in somewhere into the early of last decade itself. Okay, so this is a kind of cultural change, and in the other states of India, actually, Kerala was a torchbearer there in that in the case of startups and innovation, and which was spread into the other sectors also, other states also, wherein they all have started with the cultural change, and which has spread across the country now. Now we just tell you about the, you know, coming more to the specific characteristics of the entrepreneurs. When you are actually dealing with, when you're talking about the innovation, you are actually dealing with the not the normal business person. You're talking about the scientists or technocrats as entrepreneurs. Okay, there is a lot of difference in the the entrepreneurs, normal entrepreneurs, and the technocrats or scientists. Okay, what happens here is the normal business person, when you say, you know, when we conduct different training programs, okay, for general public who wants to start their own business. Okay, we normally get around a bunch of around 20-25 entrepreneurs who comes to the class every day and, you know, learn some lessons from our side, our classes. Okay, and that is one part. Normally they all want to start some kind of a conventional business. Okay, and on the other part, we have some of the technical entrepreneurs, innovators who comes to us to explain about their business and, you know, start the product development. Okay, the normal entrepreneurs, what they will do is probably they will try to understand the market, you know, regulate or rather change their idea according to the market needs, and go ahead with a kind of, kind of viable product, and then their focus will be more on, excuse me, anybody having any doubts or something? Right? Shall I continue?
Yes, you can continue.
Thank you. Okay. So there actually the focus is more on making the, or rather putting the business into the track. But on the other side, what we have seen with most of these techno entrepreneurs, especially, is the perfectionism. Okay, you are actually trying to make your product, a perfect one. Okay, debugging all the problems. Okay, and that is actually the kind of obsession with the technology or the idea that you're having. We would advise not to stick with your too much with your idea, but to think in the business perspective at the earliest. Okay, because why you're starting the business is not for making your technology perfect, but to make money. Okay, so we always should go for making a perfect business, perfect market, perfect product, which is apt for the market, not perfect technology. Okay, so of course, it has to work. It should not have any problem. Okay? That is there. Now, there is a lack of management input. That is another issue that we are having. See, first of all, for any of the entrepreneur, what you require is the proper environmental scanning, identifying the correct requirement. Okay, so when you identify the correct requirements, you will be able to understand how much, because the environmental scanning will proper environmental scan will give you what kind of the product is there in the market right now, which will give you a competition, and what exactly is the need of the customer. Okay, and what price will can be taken from the customer for the service or product that you're giving. Okay, so all these inputs you can get from the market, which is very essential for you to decide on the business. Okay, so these kind of inputs, plus the other normal management inputs, like your planning the business is kind of a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, when you put the different pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together to give you the whole picture. So your planning the business, or rather your business plan, also should be like that. So different pieces, like how you operate, how you take the, or rather how you get the funds, how you develop this technology, how you identify a proper channel to reach out to the market, whether you give it online, give it as an online selling, or whether you are going to sell it to retailers, or so many methods are there. Okay, so whether your product, okay, if it is some kind of a service or consulting service or something like that, where will you put your consulting services, where all to reach out to your customers, where all you will have to open your offices, and all those kind of things. On the operation side, it is very much required to identify. So all these things, how you can manage all these things, is another question. The management is a very essential part, is the financial part. Okay, financial operations, and then technology part, and then again you have to see at least 5 years down the line how your business is going to be. So we ask any of the innovators who are coming to us to make a plan of your business for 5 years at least. Okay, and including a profit and loss account, or including a minimum income and expenditure account at least. Okay, because I again say you're starting the business for making money. So to make money, you have to understand, you have to really, see that your business is actually going to fetch you enough profit. Okay. So, and then again, that is why you need to have a very good awareness about the financial aspect. Probably we all, being engineers or being scientists, will not be learning the financial side. But when you're going for the business, we have to understand about the basics of the finance at least. Okay, we need not calculate, but when you say when you see a balance sheet or profit and loss account, you should be able to understand whether the business is profitable or not. Okay, then lack of proper management of the team is another thing. Like you have to have an ideal group. In fact, a one-man show is not advisable always. Probably extraordinary capable people can do it, but when you have a good team with complementary skills, especially, There will be some people who talk a lot, who can convince other people in a very good way. Okay, but there could be somebody else who don't talk much, but at the same time they're very good in technology side. Okay, so if you can just have all these kind of things, the person who is able to convince can go to the market and do the selling probably. Okay. On the other side, the person who is very good in technology and finance, probably there will be somebody who can do well with the finance side. Okay. So all these things, if put together, can make a very good team, which is actually the key thing for the success of a business. Okay. Again, single man army can work, but it has to be an extraordinary thing. But again, the problem is the growth will be limited. Okay, else you will have to put in so much of money that you can hire a lot of consultants. But at the same time, the person who is the single person will have to be very knowledgeable. Okay? And but at the same time, when you have the team members, managing the conflicts between the team members is also an important thing. Again, I would say the entrepreneur has to be a very good leader. Okay? Because to manage the conflicts, to convince the team members as well as the market about the product or service is very important, and keeping at the same equally important is keeping your team together. Okay, so this is what the steps of what is entrepreneur, how an entrepreneur should be. Now you can look back to yourself whether you can make a good entrepreneur. Okay, now otherwise, if you can see why so many, because we in any of the states, when you Kerala state, if you can just refer to the industries department, at least normally 50% of the startups fail. Register on any day, if any year, if if you take the statistics, 50% of the startups which are registering is failure. Okay, so but why this is happening? Mainly because of the factors which I told just now about the lack of management, lack of proper management, okay, lack of proper awareness about running the business, okay, and a lack of monitoring system. Like that is another thing which we can give as a part of the incubation system. Okay, this is a kind of monitoring which is happening, a regular monitoring which is happening, like when you take funding, or when you take when you go for the incubation in an incubation unit. Normally, we regularly have informal interactions with many of the incubators who are with us, like of informal as well as formal. Okay, mostly it happens to be informal, like any people who are having some kind of a problem, if they come across some kind of a problem, they normally come to us for the discussion, and then we try to connect to somebody, because normally in the incubation team we will not be having the knowledge about everything. Okay, I am just talking to you right now about what we normally do and what can you expect in the incubation system. So in the technology side, normally what we do is we try to understand what exactly is the need, and we will have a bunch of people who are with experts in different technologies. So we just try to connect to them. Okay. So this is this is what normally happens in the incubation system. But now what happens is, say after 1 year, 1 month or so, we will just see how you are going about your planning, your business plan. Okay, and again, the lack of mentoring support is another reason for the failure of the companies. That is, mentoring is something where you're actually getting the advices, not mere advices, but mostly based on their own experience and knowledge. Okay, mentoring is normally done for the business. Mentoring is normally done by the people from industry, or those who have done some business, or even those who have done the business and failed also can be good mentors, because they will be able to tell you how they failed. Okay, so that you can avoid those kind of situations. So anyway, again, people who have done well, who are doing very well, they will be able to tell you both the things, what you should not do and what you should do. Okay. So this is what happens. So according to your requirement, we try to connect you to the mentors also. So okay, now to tell you about the in our country, again, I was just talking about the innovation ecosystem. So we in India, actually, we are the third largest startup hub in the world. Okay, and we had around 1,44,000 startups registered in Startup India. Again, this is the recent statistics. And again, 3,200 startups raising $63 billion in funding in the last 5 years. So this is just to show you that, we have a lot of activities that is happening in the startup arena right now. And startups, when you see in India by city, if you see, Kerala or Kochi is slightly somewhere there. That's all, just around 2% or so. That's all. Kerala, I mean Kochi probably is representing the entire Kerala. Okay, Bangalore, in the forefront. Delhi, NCR, Mumbai, and all, following Bangalore. Again, startup funding raising also. Bangalore Bangalore actually gives the majority of funding. So this is something that is happening in Indian startup scenario. And again, you have the Startup India portal, Startup India mission, which is right now giving spearheading for the Startup India the culture in India. Basically, it is providing you with a system which is actually helping you to simplify so many things in your startup journey, and the many hindrances that you come across in the problems that you come across in your startup journey, whether it is in the form of the application for registration, maybe preparing a business plan, finding out a mentor, finding out the funding, and all those things. Okay, and what is actually is a startup? To understand what exactly is the definition of a startup? It's like, a startup shouldn't be more than of age 7 years of age. Okay, you should be incorporated at least in last 7 years. Normally, registered as a partnership firm or limited liability company or a private limited company. There should be some form of registration to as a legal status, and focus should be mainly, that is, you should be working with a technologically advanced area or innovative idea, or more or less it could be a patentable one. That is where you can get an intellectual property right for your invention. That is where we call it as a startup. And operating revenue turnover should not be exceeding INR 250 million for any of the 5 financial years since incorporation. So this is what we call a startup. Okay. Now again, you can get all these things from the Startup India portal. You can just go to the startupindia.gov.in website and find out all these things. There are so many things which you can get. Now again, for students, if you see, I just would like to mention about the National Innovation and Startup Policy also, which is actually introduced by the Ministry of Education to people, to the institutes like ours. I told you about earlier about the KTU system, wherein there are a lot of incentives given to the students who is actually going for the startup side. But in innovation side, but here in institute like ours, central government institute like ours, we are not actually having a systematic path for going to the startup and innovation arena. Okay, now with a policy which is introduced in the year 2019, we are all asked to implement this policy. This is called the NISP, National Innovation Student and Startup Policy for Students and Faculty, whereby you will be able to take up the startup as a part of your study itself. Okay, so this is applicable to students, faculty, and staff of any of the central government institute who is adopting this policy. And product ownership or technologies developed at the institute, or rather, if it is developed by you, the entrepreneur, the complete IP will be for you only, instead of giving it to the institute, IP ownership to the institute, especially when you're forming the company and doing it. Okay, and actually it is using you can utilize the institutional infrastructure also for making your startup a successful one. Okay, actually taking your startup to the next level. Okay, so your idea to the next level, to the startup level. Okay, so so till now we were having some restrictions for using the institutional infrastructure for making your startup, or being a student. You had a lot of restriction, but actually when you are adopting this policy, we are in the process of adopting, not fully adopted. Okay, so when you have a lot of opportunities under this, and The pedagogy and learning interventions also is there for innovation promotion and entrepreneurship and IPR and all. So we are actually going to have courses which is going to teach you on how to develop your business, how to plan your business, and even in like what is intellectual property right, how you can go for the IPR for your technology. So probably out of the 60 students in a class, of course, all the 60 are not going to be innovators or entrepreneurs. Maybe this will be useful for at least 6 or 7 people or 10 people. Okay. Or probably if this was not there, they may not have thought about it. Okay. So then not that 100% of the students are going to be innovators. Okay. So, but at least a certain small percentage will be benefiting out of all these things. Definitely some of the faculty also. The faculty, definitely the problem is they cannot access, they cannot take entrepreneurship also along with them. But with this, again, this is going to be a a regularized kind of method. Okay. And this is again, you have a lot of incentives in terms of attendance and marks, and or rather taking a semester out and all for pursuing your startup dream. And definitely now talk about a little bit on the TBI of NIT side. NIT's TBI was started in 2004, in the year 2004. That is almost 17 years, 16 years back. And we till now, as was mentioned in the introduction, we had 79 companies, another 10 in the pipeline. We have selected them and we will be starting, so it is going to be 89 now. Now, number of graduated companies. Now, what is this graduation? The incubation, I told about the premature babies incubation and the chicken and all. You don't keep the chicken after it comes out of the egg every time in the incubator, right? They have to go out and then grow. Same way the babies also. It is a similar case with the businesses as well. So you give the incubation support in the very early premature stage for a business. As I said, the businesses, especially the technology businesses, it is always good if they get a mentoring, monitoring and all in the initial level, initial phase, along with the seed funding and other infrastructure support. Okay. So all these things, you cannot again keep the company in the incubation center always, because the company has to grow. The incubation center is a limited facility. Okay. So you cannot, hold a company which is having around 100 employees in the incubation center, because the incubation center will be only having say 100 seating or 200 seating for the whole company incubator there. So you cannot just have one company occupying the whole space. So once your company is becoming a certain size, okay, you have to go out. Or when you are, again, another thing is ethically it is not correct to enjoy something which is at a very concessional level, which even you grow financially very well. Okay. So what happens is there the company goes out, in the incubation center, it is always a concessional or kind of a nominal rent and nominal charges for the services that is being provided. Okay. So after a certain level, definitely you have more paying capacity and than which is for the incubation center, which is offered by the incubation level. So you have to move out and let the new people come in and have the enjoy the same facilities. Okay. So that is another criteria for going out. So normally we we kind of assume a certain time period in which normally the companies will attain these kind of growth, and they can go out. So normally we give in TBI and IT, we give 3 years time period for any of the incubated companies to come and work there, and then after that they have to go out and start on their own. Okay. So by then, in using these 3 years, they must have actually graduated, or rather actually grown to a certain level so that they can support on their own, they can grow on their own. Okay. So so after this incubation of around 3 years, 57 have grown out of 57 have gone out and set up their own companies, out of which around 12 are not working. The rest are working and some of them are having very good growth. Okay. Around 4 to 5 companies are having more than 100 people working in their companies right now. Of course, with COVID and all, there are some changes, but still, there are around 100 people working in 4 or 5 companies. Many of them having multiple offices in different parts of the world, and put together, everybody should be contributing to the economy somewhere around 35 to 40 crores as the revenue total turnover. Okay. So again, this is the kind of growth that was achieved by the companies incubated here. And we have around right now currently around 22 in place, another 10 to join. So focus was more or less to IT and IT enabled services in the initial years. Again, with ITS was a safer side for us to work with, especially in Kerala, and electronics definitely yes. And biomedical, agriculture, biotech, mechanical engineering, and all, we have just started going in. Of course, mechanical we started much earlier itself. Some companies which are having the some machinery manufacturing, agri machinery especially. And when we had some rubber technology also, we have a very good example from your own department, which was supported by Onikrishnan sir. Of course, Sujit sir also was initially a part of helping them out in many of the situations. One of our company who actually developed a lot of products, rubber technology products from your department, and they have gone out and then started their own work plant in the nearby place, Kudarani, and they're doing well. Okay, they have actually expanded to many other things as well. So we have, as part of this incubation system, we have what we normally provide is I have a question. My question is, in these times of pandemic, when the market is filled with uncertainty and the startups are facing financial crunches, can incubation cells come in for our help? If so, how? Okay, probably that is what exactly I am right now explaining. Like again, with this kind of a services, this kind of a slide which is explaining about the services that which we can give to the startups. One is the infrastructure, as I already told you, about the labs, office space, conference rooms, meeting rooms, training rooms, and everything there. That is you at a very concessional level, at a very nominal rent, and at a very nominal usage charges, you can use all these facilities. Of course, conference room, training rooms, and it's all free of cost. But just the office space, we have a very nominal rent, and labs and all. Most of the times it is the labs, if it is a very small usage and all, we just keep it open for the companies also, because it is again an institute policy. But if it is an extensive use, there could be some small charges for your product development, because again, you don't have you may not be having the access to many other places, one thing. And when you are in the institute atmosphere, it is easy for you to make some of the products. Then important thing is the grant or loan which could be given. I mean, for the innovators for development of their product as seed fund also. We can give up to 25 lakhs as seed fund with an interest rate of 6%, which you can pay back, say, in 5 to 8 years take time. That is with a moratorium of around 6 to 8 months. You can take, after taking the loan, you can use up the loan with around 6 to 8 months, and then start slowly paying it back with smaller installments in the beginning, and then going to bigger installments with the 6% interest. Okay, so this is again the loan scheme which you can get avail from, and for which you don't have any collateral security to be given for this kind of a loan, which you just need to present your idea before the committee. Then when it is it is approved by the committee, it is felt by the committee that this is a good idea, and maybe we can fund it, we can go ahead with giving the seed. And again, more interestingly, if interesting is the grant right now. Right now there are two schemes actually. One is more popular one is the Nidhi Prayas grant, which is actually a prototyping grant, which probably could be applicable to many of you. Like if you have an idea, to make that idea into a prototype. So what happens is you can take this this kind of exactly for this loan. There are certain conditions. Definitely, this is for a business idea development and not for research. Okay, so strictly it has to have a business idea. And it shouldn't be at a research level. It has to, you should be able to give a proof of concept or slightly at a, just ready to make a prototype kind of level. Okay, so you must have come after the proof of concept. Proof of concept is something which you can do it in the lab itself. So this is what the interesting scheme that you have right now. You can get up to 10 lakhs as grant under the scheme. You don't have to pay back even a single rupee. Only thing is you have to make a prototype of your innovation in 1 year. It should definitely have a business use, very good market possibility also. Okay, we have a committee for that. We normally apply, we have just closed one round of call application. Just another, we have left with some more amount for this year. So we'll be soon calling one more round of application. So if any of you are there having an interesting product, you can always apply. Okay. And this also has a rigorous selection process. And 1 year will be given to you for almost 1 year. Okay, 1 year will be given to you for making your product, and then you have to start your company and make a product. Okay, not like leaving that product and going. Okay, that will not be possible. Okay. Then we try to get the investors for you, try to connect to different government agencies, government financial institutions, or even to the angel investors also. And another thing is the legal, accounting, technical consulting, management consulting and all. So legal, accounting and all, if you have to start, even starting from the registration of your company, we can always help out with you. Then even for accounts and all, we do have a panel of chartered accountants and even legal advisors and all who will be able to help you out solving your issues. Then technical consulting, definitely we normally do with the technical side, we do it with the faculty from our own institute. And if you have anything which you don't, which is not available in our institute, we can try to connect with other people. For example, if you have something related to agriculture, we can always connect you to the Indian Institute of Spices Research or CPCRA, where we do have contacts. Okay. So this is anything that just like that, any related fields also, we do have incubation centers and other institutions which would be able to help you out. Then we have a good connection with the alumni and some other industrialists also. Especially we have a good connection with the people or business people from within Calicut, especially who we have frequently we have them in TBI talking to our, or rather guiding our entrepreneurs and mentoring our entrepreneurs. Okay. Then we normally have some kind of trainings also. Now, to become an incubator of the NIT TBI, what you have to do is, for if you have a very good idea, just come to us, discuss with us. Then you can probably when you are able to convince us, this is a very good business. And normally when you come to us, we will have a lot of questions to ask you. We normally play the role of a devil's advocate, we try to prove that your idea is not workable, but at the same time, it is your responsibility to prove us back that your idea is workable. But there are essential things like you have to have the market survey, you have to have the financial calculations, everything done, or a very good business plan done. Okay, so what we look at is the technical viability, financial viability, and market feasibility, and what you require from the incubation center. Okay. So all these factors we look into in the idea which we're explaining, and the kind of, maybe you are just coming with an idea. So in the process of this pre-incubation discussions, we have to evolve a kind of good business plan or good strategy for taking our business forward. So if we are able to evolve this kind of a good business plan, we go to the next level of selection process. We do have a committee. And Professor Ravema also is there, so he is actually holding a very key position in the TBI's activities. So we have, in fact, we have a lot of our faculty who is actively involved in the TBI activities, and we get them, take them as panelists for our presentations, and we do have from people from industry also in our panel to assist the business aspects of your idea. Okay. So you have to present your business plan in front of before your expert committee. Then if you are selected for the incubation, you can have an office space, use the lab which you want, you can have the connections with any of the faculty, and you can avail the funds if you require after 6 months. Okay, you can go for funds only after 6 months. But the grant scheme which I was talking about, one of the grant scheme, another of the grant scheme is the MSME grant. That is Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises is operating a scheme of incubation through the NIT TBI, wherein up to 15 lakhs of money you can get as grant for your business development. We just got one project granted this year. where we got around, the innovator got around 12.75 lakhs as the grant, up to maximum is 15 lakhs. Okay, so there also the selection process is two-tier. Okay, we have a selection process and then we give it to the ministry, and then they do have a separate their own selection process. Okay, so that these are the two things. So for these grant schemes, you can directly apply. That is, before you come itself, you can apply, and your selection is based on the presentation about your business idea. Okay. Then otherwise, if you just want only the incubation, and then you realize that even after you come in, you require some funds also as loan, you can apply after 6 months. So this is basically the process of incubation that we have here. And apart from this process of incubation, we have other aspects, other things also which we do, like training to prospective entrepreneurs, which I just mentioned earlier. Like we have some training programs conducted every year. Like if any of you want to learn about how the business or different aspects of business, like accounting, the market research, how it is done, or many government schemes, all these things are now, or if you really want to, or the human resource HR management, or the communication, or the legal side of the business. So all these things are taught in specified training programs, which is given to the general public who wants to start their business. Like, if any of you want to undergo this kind of a training, or rather just be a part of it, normally we conduct this kind of now it is this year, it is all these trainings are online. We are going to have now 5 training programs this year, everything online, where we are teaching all these whatever I told right now. So this again, IPR also is a part of it. Business plan preparation, everything is a part of it. So this is something which you can learn online now parallel to your classes. Now, if any of you are interested, please contact me. You can go through this training programs. Okay. And apart from this kind of training programs, this is general training program, not incubation. Okay, this is just 4 weeks kind of training. It's, being online, it is delivered online, and we get faculty from mostly from consulting field, or mostly from the government departments, concerned government departments. Like if you want to know about the registration, we get the people from industries department. If you want to talk about the different types of ownership, we get a chartered accountant to explain to you how you can make your business. And if you want a project report done, again a chartered accountant. If you want to understand about the legal aspects of business, we have an advocate to talk to you. So all these things are done by the professionals only. Okay. So this is what, and we do give some kind of guidance in IP protection, IP, intellectual property protection also, with the help of KSCST and different other patent attorneys and all. Then training for students in the form of entrepreneurship awareness camp. We're planning for another entrepreneurship awareness camp maybe somewhere in next month, once this COVID issues are just over. And otherwise also we have other activities like consulting, market analysis, and all those things, which is being given as a consulting activity. Then otherwise we have student innovation promotion exclusively for the students in the form of IEDC, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Cell. Then IIC, Institute Innovation Council, which is formed under the Ministry of HRD. One student from BTech got a 3 lakhs funding for him under this proof of concept, under a proof of concept competition, which was done under Institute Innovation Council from AICT, that is MHRD's under MHRD. And we have, I told you about the entrepreneurship awareness camp, which we conduct just to make an awareness about the entrepreneurship and innovation among the students. Then, as part of Tattva interface, we have a lot of business plan competitions and mentoring activities and all done. So this is about the general student activity. So that is generally about the innovation, entrepreneurship activities, and about the cultural change that happened, the innovation ecosystem that is there. And all. Now, if any, I think I'm almost done with my presentation. Now, in case if you have any, if you have any questions, please. Shall I stop the presentation? I hope you don't have any questions with the slides, right?
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, Varma sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think most of the science students may not have thought about the challenges and opportunities at the same time
Yes.
on making the ideas into business. So this is really a good introduction to them, and I would like to invite questions from audience other than the one already asked, if they have any, and then pass on the mic to HOD Chemistry.
Okay, madam. I think in the case of curriculum, so in the case of some technological institute, is there
Yeah.
any technology? Is there any technological institute has this entrepreneurship in curriculum?
Yeah, we do have. And IIT Bombay and all, we have a lot of, a few papers which is being offered in their curriculum. Actually, interestingly, from our own School of Management Studies, there was entrepreneurship being offered as an elective for the students. And even a few years before, I don't know, Sujit sir, you should be knowing Francis sir, right? Who was there in the training investment department. He had offered entrepreneurship as an elective, global elective, but there were, I mean, takers were very few, I think. And even songs also did not have much of takers. So maybe lack of awareness among our students, or probably the publicity given to the course was not much, or whatever be the reason. We also tried our best to introduce, but now it should be I think with the new policies of government and NEP and ISP and all, I think it will be a compulsory kind of activity for the students also to take these kind of courses. And probably it may have to move to our core curriculum also, probably.
Okay, I think it is good if a TBI can offer an elective for the students.
Okay, sure. Actually, I think for the industrial engineering batch, we had this year we had just one session. So Dr. Vinay was asking me to give a few sessions on different aspects, like business plan making and all those kind of things. So maybe next year, I think they have it in their as part of some topics they have. So maybe we can expand it into other departments as well, and definitely we can, if the institute agrees with it, we can definitely, we will be happy to introduce something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
So, yes.
Yes.
I just want to compliment what Sujit sir has said here. Just want to add one more comment, not a question like that. So it's like nowadays, out of my experience, that's what I'm speaking. PhD is just becoming a way of taking a degree and then buzz off. So what my suggestion is, instead of I'll just go one more step ahead what Sujit sir has said. Instead of making this as an elective for us, for the PhD students at the moment, we have this research methodology as a compulsory course. So what I would suggest is, why not make a entrepreneurship kind of course as a compulsory course for PhD students? Because finally, the outcome of a PhD should be going to the society in one way or the other, directly or indirectly. That's what I feel. Out of all this experience of my past couple of years, in the starting season of this COVID-19. Out of this, what my suggestion is, many of the students, they don't know how to apply their expertise to make a betterment in the society. Because finally a PhD work should go into the society, help the people, rather than on the other side, let it be a business. That's something different from what I'm speaking at the moment. Let it be a product which could be going in a better way to help the society to improve many things. Even if we take the example of this particular situation of COVID-19, many products have came from laboratories to help the people in the society. So what my suggestion is, instead of making this as an elective for PhD students, let it go to as a compulsory subject of entrepreneurship, so that their PhD work can become a potential product in the market. Thank you.
Yes, you are perfect. You're 100% is right, Arun. And you have Ashwati also having the same opinion, who has chatted in the conversation box. So I think, Varma sir, this probably is something which we can, bring into the notice of the institute, attention of the institute, like, when they revise the curriculum, we can get this entrepreneurship and innovation also as a compulsory course at different levels, in fact. Okay, it could be PhD and BTech and all the places, like, or even at least a part of the course.
Yes, actually,
like to-
right now the curriculum revision committees have formed, and it should be there starting from next year. So we have a UG curriculum committee, PG curriculum committee, and a PhD curriculum committee. I am part of the PG curriculum committee. I could probably put forth into MSc MTech curriculum to have some sort of compulsory course or a 2-credit course or something like that. It should be put forth to all 3 curriculums, because we are adopting national startup policy, innovation and startup policy. Also, we have similarly we are soon to be adopting NEP, National Education Policy. So, as students may not be very well aware that, but what is happening in the society is that there is a paradigm shift from the traditional learning and having degree and waiting for a job. Ultimately, we have 100 crore people, and who is going to give 100 crore jobs in the in the society? So generally, the shift is intended such that there is a creative idea. There is a people who want to take some risk and try to, like Arun said, try to bring something not so ideal case, but of course you have to make money also. So in such instances, students or people who are earning knowledge should have some. I agree that they should have some tools with them, or some, like this talk to the students of science, meaning that there is an avenue beyond the wall, that there is a world on the other side, and how to connect with your ideas to that. So such kind of things can only come through major changes in curriculum and expose students to courses that has credit, so that students know the risk that they are going to take, and, or in other words, some very innovative person might someday end up in some regular job, and probably something great would have happened there. So that kind of things can only happen through a curriculum, and this is the right time to bring it to the institute so that we can also align ourselves to the paradigm shift of the educational system in the country. So you are right, and we should be bringing it to the into the curriculum, all 3 curriculum committees, so that we can have some courses compulsory as well as elective. That's my opinion.
Yes, sir. At least the students in the coming years will have the opportunity to, learn some of these points, and if they are interested, of course, as I said, 100% of the students may not go for entrepreneurship, but to at least a certain percentage, if they are interested, at least they can, if we can just give an idea of, okay, these things you can do, and if you are interested and brave enough to take it up, you can do it, right? Okay. Just giving necessary inputs. You can think in this way also. This is also a career option for you. Okay. Thank you. In case, I mean, are there any other questions?
Any other questions from the students?
I think they have not thought about
Okay, I
it,
think
but that's fine. Yeah, right.
okay.
No
Okay.
problem.
So thank
Yeah, I
thank
have.
you.
I think you could note down the number and mail ID which I just projected in the last slide. Or if not, Sujit sir and Varma sir are having my number and mail ID and all. You can come to the TBI office anytime in case if you have anything to clarify. Of course, now this is closed, but you can contact me on my number mobile. So you're free to contact anytime. So we will wait for your visit or call, so that we can have more entrepreneurs from the department, chemistry department.
Okay, thank you, madam, for a very informative and a very nice presentation about the technology business incubator at TBI at NIT Calicut. And I hope that students can make use of this wing for their career advancement and research innovations. Thank you, Madam, for your valuable time for us. Thank you, Professor Ravi Verma, for chairing this webinar. Thank you, all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your patient listening, the participants, and thanks a lot for the opportunity, Sujit sir and Verma sir, for giving me this kind of an opportunity to talk to this much of students. Of course, this is, this kind of an evangelism for innovation and entrepreneurship is a part of our duty, and we are really thankful to you to giving me a chance for introducing the concept of innovation, entrepreneurship, and especially about the NIT TPA activities to this much of, to your department. And I'm sure at least some of them will come up with their ideas. Thank you very much. Thank you.